Hello friends, I've already made a video showing how to make a wash basin vessel sink style onto a spherical mode. This is the result after bisque firing. There's a link to that in the upper corner. I have also made another one showing how to use mineral strata exposed by the river flow to make your own ceramic glazing. You can follow this other link to watch it. Now let's put these two things together. Let us glaze the wash basin using our local sourced glaze, but we'll use a commercial brand glaze too. Okay, let's begin by mixing our native minerals into our glaze number 1. According to my previous tests, the minerals from the creek shore seem to be rich in iron oxide. They tend to a very dark hickory brown when fired in a reduction atmosphere, and a deep red brown when fired under oxidation. I'm firing these ones in an electric kiln, so they're likely to come out deep red brown. I'm preparing 100 grams. I'm using a 30% rate for this mineral, so that is 30 grams. Now 70 grams of feldspar to make up 100%. It will provide full vitrification at cone 6. Now shake it all up for a good mix. And here it is. This is the base of our glaze. Just to make sure we have a good result, I'm adding 3 grams of calcium carbonate. It works as a flux at higher temperatures than cone 6. My carbonate is a bit grainy, so I'm passing it through a fine mesh sieve, the kind used to sieve paint. I extracted this carbonate from the shells of a freshwater bivalve mollusk. It is a pest and a serious nuisance for fish farmers, and are regularly collected out from the growing ponds and discarded. I may make a video showing how easy it is to prepare and use carbonate from the aragonite of the shells. I'm using just a little bit here, really no more than 3 grams for each 100 grams of base. And we give it another good shake. Now, all things mixed up, we must prepare the glaze for brushing onto the piece. Add water very slowly. It can get too thin very quickly. This is what you want it to be like, a thick liquid but easy flowing. If you get too watery, then 3 layers won't be enough and the glaze may not cover the surface well. Another important ingredient when you want to brush your glaze on is CMC. It works as a thickener, improving dispersion of the ingredients and making the glaze more uniform. After it dries, it will allow you to brush the following layers without damaging the previous ones. It is a cellulose-based product, which is also used as a food ingredient on desserts and ice cream. That means you can buy it from your ceramics supply shop or from your culinary supply shop. Prepare it according to label instructions and use the same amount as the water you added to the mix. Look how creamy and uniform it gets. Carefully remove all dust from the area to be glazed. I'm applying the brown glaze on the outside with a broad brush, very carefully, and avoiding brushing over the same place many times over. It could easily remove the glaze that was already there rather than add new material over it. The first layer is easy, you can see well where you have painted already. But on the following layers it gets harder to see where you have or you haven't brushed it yet. Be very careful. When the glaze dries and gets that ultra matte look, it seems to have an awesome coverage. But don't get fooled by that. When it melts in the kiln, if you haven't applied enough layers, it will look thin and will show all your brush strokes. Always apply at least 3 careful layers, no matter how good it seems to be when you finish the first one. Leave a small unglazed area right around the sinkhole where the piece will sit on the kiln shelf, or else it will stick to it when the glaze melts. Wait until each layer is really thoroughly dry before going for the next one, or you may get that problem I told you before. The brush stroke may damage the previous layer rather than adding a new one. On the inside of the basing, I'm using a commercial semi-matte glaze called Jordan Gray, prepared by Nova Farias in Brazil. This video is not sponsored, but anyhow, I'm leaving a link to their online shop in the description below. This is a glaze prepared for firing from 1220 degrees Celsius to 1240 degrees Celsius, that is cone 6 to cone 7. You prepare it the same way as the other one. Add water little by little until you get the right consistency, and then add some CMC. Let's turn the piece right side up. Avoid touching the glaze on the outside. It is too fragile before the firing. Try to center the piece, but you don't need much precision here. A little wobble won't hurt. It doesn't matter if you start from the top down or bottom up. Just be careful covering the rims and every crevice where the brush has a hard time reaching. Apply the glaze on the rims of the sinkhole, but try not to go all the way down to the border. Leave a small unglazed edge. On the upper rim, be generous with your layers. All 3 of them, same thing as the outside. Allow it to dry completely between layers. And finally, some less refining the upper rim with a more delicate brush. Here it is. Now to the electric kiln, cone 6. This is how it looks after firing and installed on top of a light granite counter. Now, that's worth a thumbs up, isn't it? Subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed the video.